Very good morning to one and all. Welcome to demo programming on Python. Okay. Before directly going to the demo, first of all, I will explain what are the features that the Python contains, along with what are the contents we are going to cover in the complete sessions. Okay. Actually, we have slides, but before opening the slides, I will explain the pen. Then it is very easy to understand. Generally, before going to any programming language, first of all, you have to know whether the programming language is procedure oriented or object oriented. These are the main terms that are used in the programming language. Based on these two terms only, most of the program depends whether it is a procedure oriented or object oriented. These are the main terms. But before that one, first of all, you know that one C, COBOL, Pascal, and all these languages are procedure oriented languages. Some of the examples are C. C is the main example. It is the procedure oriented language. Java is an object oriented programming language. Okay. Now, what is the procedure oriented? What is object oriented? Now, the main question is what about Python? Is Python is the procedure oriented or object oriented? Before going, what is Python? First, I will explain the difference between this procedure oriented and object oriented. Simply, the procedure oriented is derived from the concept of structured programming. The concept of structured programming, and the main thing, the procedure oriented mainly depends on the calling procedures. What do you mean by procedure? Function. The procedure is also called as function. What is a function? Function is simply a block of code. For example, in the program, if you want to execute some part of the code multiple number of times. For example, in my program, I want to perform addition operation, suppose 5 times. What is the thing you have to do? The same addition logic is to be written 5 times. Now that is the duplication of code. Instead of writing the same code multiple number of times, I am writing the code outside the program, and whenever required, simply I call the function. Whenever required, simply I call the function. Then what is the advantage? Reusability is one advantage. Reduction of the code is another advantage. That means whenever we require a particular function or also called as procedure, we call the function. So the procedure oriented programming mainly depends on the function calls. Mainly depends on the function calls. In a simple terms, it is a step-by-step approach simply to break down, that is to the entire program into divide the entire program into set of variables and the functions. So the program contains two parts generally, the variables and the functions are called by using some calling procedures. Remember, a function is called at any point of time. During the program, a function is called at any point of time. So the one of the main example of procedure oriented programming language is main program procedure oriented is C. Along with some other languages, Basic, Pascal, I think Fortran. So all these are also basic procedure oriented programming languages. Now coming to object oriented programming, The main example of object-oriented programming language is Java. Here, here, object-oriented programming, everything is depends on object. Everything is depends on object. So, what is mean by this one? What is mean by this object-oriented programming? Simply consider in the real world. Considered in the real world, everything is treated as a real world entity. Everything is treated as a real world entity. The entire program is written inside a class. The entire program is written inside a class, and whenever we require a member of a class, that is accessed by using an object. Now, what is the difference? Here, everything depends on the function. Here, everything depends on the object. Everything is depend upon the object. So the main advantages of this object-oriented programming is it is more secure compared to procedure-oriented. Object-oriented is more secure. How can you say that it is more secure? Everything that is either variables or functions, whatever it is, every data member is present inside a class. Data member is present inside a class. If it is present inside a class, no one is allowed to access. Only the objects of the class are access. Only the objects of the class can access. Now, the object-oriented programming one more contains access specifiers like public, private, protected. So the main thing is to provide restrictions on the access of a class. Based on this one, the object-oriented programming is more secure, more secure. And the remaining features, the reusability feature of procedure-oriented is also available in object-oriented by using the concept of inheritance. By using the concept of inheritance, everything is available. Everything is available, but here everything is in terms of objects. So main concentration is on the data. Here the main concentration is on the procedures. Now the question is, what is Python? Generally, this Python programming language supports both procedure-oriented and object-oriented. Both procedure-oriented and object-oriented. That means it has the features of all the features that are present in procedure are supported by Python. At the same time, the features that are supported by the object-oriented programming also supported by Python. It comes under two categories, but generally we say that among these two, procedure and object has the highest category. That is the reason generally we said that Python is object oriented programming, but technically Python satisfies both the features of procedure and object, both the features of procedure and object. This is the main thing. Now, before going to the actual contents, I have one more point. The one more point is why we are going into Python. Why? We already have C, C++, Java, all some set of languages. Why we are regularly nowadays, so Python becomes the more popular language. Okay, for that I will show you. So Python is a general purpose, high level programming language. Python is a general purpose high level programming language. What do you mean by high level language? Simply we have three types: mission level, assembly level, and high level. Mission level in the sense mission, that means the computer, the language that is understandable by the computer, that is in the form of zeros and ones. And high level in the sense the language that is understandable by the user in the sense the developer, that is the programmers. Okay, now the Python is high level programming language. It is Python was developed, so started working at this position, but it is available to the public, that is this is the year in the year 1991. Generally, most of the persons think that Java is the old programming language, the Python is the new programming language. But that is not true. Java is developed in the year 1995 only. Before Java, Python was developed. Before Java, Python was developed, but Java came into existence. Even though Python is developed, no one know the importance of Python. That is the reason it does not becomes the popular. Java becomes the popular. Nowadays, whenever the concepts of machine learning and artificial intelligence comes into existence, Python becomes the most popular language. Now, this is the main thing why we are moving into Python. Why we are moving into Python? For example, consider my concept is to print a simple hello world message. Now, coming to C language, first we have to write down the header file. You know the header file. Header file contains the definitions of all the predefined functions. That means, suppose here we are writing printf. How the computer knows? Simply, here the printf is called a function call. Printf is called a function call. Whenever we call it printf, control goes to this header file. Here the definition of printf is available. Simply, it prints the message. So first we have to include the header file and then main, and then you have to use the print statement for printing the message. This is the program in C language. That means the for simple hello world, you have to write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines of code. Coming to Java. In Java, complete object-oriented programming, even single line of code is to be written inside the class only. Inside the class only. Okay. Here we are creating a class sample, and this is the syntax of the main. And in this, by using this system.out.println, we are printing the message. That means to print a simple message here also takes much of code. But coming to Python, here it is small p. Coming to Python, no need of any class, no need of any header file, simply by using print hello world. By using a single line of code, the Python is, that is the program is executed. Only a single line of code, hello world. This is the difference. Actually, this is the program for simple hello world. Assume a program of large size. Generally, suppose if you are writing a program, for example, the program to remove duplicates. For example, simple example, I am given a set of numbers. I am given a set of numbers to you. What is your program? Your program is to remove duplicates. For example, if my numbers are 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So what is my answer? After removing the duplicates, 1, 2, 3 the answer. Suppose if you want to execute this program in C and Java, approximately you require 10 to 15 lines of code, and you have to use for loop and for loop, nested for loop, and regularly you have to perform the comparison. So the program size is very large. Suppose coming to Python, even not a single line. Simply, for example, the set of numbers are stored in A. Simply, if you are writing set of A, automatically the duplicates are removed. That means you got the difference. So the main thing is by using all predefined concepts, the complexity of the program is very, very, very reduced. Now, that is the reason the Python is used in most of the applications. So, these are the applications in the simple sense, A to Z. What do you mean by A to Z? In all the applications, whatever the application we are considering, in that application, there is a chance to use the Python. See this one, for developing desktop applications. What is mean by desktop applications? Simply the applications that are used in a particular system. For example, if you are going to some DMart, There we have a building software, that is the software installed on the particular desktop. That software is developed by using Python. Web applications, suppose websites, web applications in the sense web browser, suppose like Gmails, or web applications, suppose www.gotomeeting.com. So that is one of web application. So in all these web applications, so for developing database applications, that is the applications where we require to store the data in that applications, network programming, games, analysis of data, this is the most important thing. So nowadays data analytics plays a crucial role in the market. So data analytics in the sense analyzing of data. For example, the most important thing is the prediction based on the previous data. For example, okay, I am the person doing this task right now. After 1 hour, I am doing this task. After 2 hours, I am doing this task. Based on the analysis, in the next 1 hour, what we are going to do, that is called analysis. So in the analysis, the Python plays a crucial role. Machine learning, artificial intelligence, IoT, the most of the thing is the machine learning. So the machine learning plays a crucial role in a real world situation right now. For implementing the machine learning, Python is the most popular language. So these are the futures. We will discuss the futures later. Before that one, these are the applications and where what are the contents we are going to discuss in our sessions. First, I will explain the contents, that is the topics that we are going to cover. So these are the topics. So in the first one, introduction to Python and the installation of Python and IDE. So simple thing, introduction to Python in the sense who developed the Python, what are the applications of the Python, what are the features of the Python, how the Python programming is implemented, what is the difference among the Python to other programming languages, all the basic things that are required for entering into the Python programming, all the basic things. Okay, so once you understand the basic things, that means basic things, then only we know, okay, these are the topics we will discuss. Now, installation. What do you mean by this one? For example, you have to execute the programs, you need some softwares, you need some tools. So we have many type of tools. One is the basic version. The basic version is the Python IDLE. This is the basic version where we are executing the programs. Along with, we have many type of tools. So one such tool is Anaconda. In Anaconda, we have different variations. That is a Jupyter, Spider, like this. In Jupyter or Spider, we will execute the programs. Along with, we can use the PyCharm or PyLabs. We have many different softwares where we are executing the Python. We will discuss some of the tools, how to install and how to use. Without knowing how to install and how to use, it is not possible to move on the next sessions. Okay, after completion of this one, so some of the topics are, what is identifier, what is mean by identifier. So identifier is simply a name given to either a variables, functions, methods, arrays, whatever it is, simply the rules. What are the rules? Based on the rules, how the variables are created. Not only these things, for simplicity I am writing only this one. We will discuss a many lot. For example, along with, we will discuss the comments, identifiers, comments, how we are going to implement the programs and operators, data types, how to convert one data type into another data type. So different types of type conversions, different types of numbers we are available. For example, consider the data type integer. Under integer, we have different types, the decimal number, octal number, hexadecimal number, binary numbers. How do you perform conversion among these numbers? So each and every minute topic is covered. For content purpose, we are writing a simple data types only. I will show you the slides also. Right now, after completion of the syllabus coverage, I will show you what are the contents. Now, What is this mean by this one? Decision making statements. That means simply everything is combinedly called as control statements. Control statements. Control statement in the sense that it has the control on the programming. Control on the programming. Like if statement, if else, and nested if, else if ladder. That is comes under decision making statements along with loops, for loop and while loop. Some additional properties of for loops and while loops also, along with the transfer or jumping statements, break, continue, and then pass. So in this we discuss decision making statements and looping statements along with transfer statements. These are the things we are going to discuss. Now, after that, the most important and heart of Python programming is these are the data types: strings, list, tuple, dictionary, set, like this. First, strings. So in each and every session, what we are discussing, what is mean by string, how to define a string. That is, what are the different ways to create a string, what are the different operations that are performed on the string. So different operations in the sense, for example, concatenation, slicing, repetition, whatever it is, we have different operations, the operations that are performed on the string, and the functions, that is the predefined functions that are available in the string. Remember, if you want to write a program or a project, you have to remember the predefined functions. Once you know the predefined functions, then it is very easy to write a program. For example, one simple predefined function, one simple, you have a function sort, assume, or simple function count. For example, I am given a string to you. You have to count how many number of times a character is repeated. Suppose hello. How many number of times L is repeated? Two times. Instead of blindly checking character by character, if you know the count method, it is very easy. Suppose s dot count of L. Simply it returns the answer. That means once you understand the predefined functions, it is very easy to analyze the programs. Very easy to analyze the program. So you have to discuss the functions that are available in the string along with some of the programs, the where the strings are used. The situations where the strings are used, that applies the functions. The same thing, whatever we are discussed in the string, the same thing on the list also. That is the list introduction, that is the creation of a list. What are the different operations that are performed on the list? What are the functions that are available on the list? And the programs where we are using the list, along with list to strings, not strings, list to dictionaries and sets have comprehension. So that is one of the technique. There we discuss the list comprehensions. List comprehensions along with the same thing, tuples. String, list, tuples. Before that one, I will explain this one. The dictionaries and then set. All are same topics. The only difference is the way of representation. Each one contains different functions. Each string, list, tuple, dictionary, set. These five are the data structures or data types. These are hard to the Python programming. Once you know this one, it is very easy to write any program. Any program, it is very easy. 90% of programs are written by using only this one. Along with, we will discuss the concept of array. So the same thing, what is array, how the arrays are created, what are the operations that are performed in the array, what are some of the predefined functions performed in the array. Generally, we are not using array. Why? Because array is homogeneous. That means all the elements in the array must be of same data type. Now, what are the properties of the array? The same thing is implemented by using list also. But the advantage of list is, instead of storing only the same elements, the list can store the elements of different types also. So whatever it is, depending upon the situation, we are going with the data type. So these are the things. Was after completion of all these data structures, we are moving into the concept of functions. We are moving into the concept of functions. That means what is a function? That is how we are defining a function. What are the different types of arguments? That means based on the arguments, we categorize the functions. We categorize the functions. Suppose the four types of the arguments: positional argument, keyword argument, default argument, variable length arguments. And then how the functions are called. We are using either call by reference or call by reference, call by value or call by reference. What do you mean by recursive function? What are the different modules? What are the different modules available in the function? Okay, and after that one, this is already discussed: list comprehension, dictionary comprehension, and the lambda functions. This is one type of the function, simply a function without any value. Sorry, a function without any name is called lambda function. Now, up to now, what we have discussed, all these things are the basic things of the Python programming. If you want to write any program, if you want to write any program, these things are compulsory. With up to this level, without knowing anything, generally it is not possible to write a Python. Now, the next thing is where we are using the Python. These are the basic things. Now, if you are moving into some advanced concepts, if we are using the Python in some application, Python in some applications for creating applications, that is for developing applications. For that, from these onwards, we have to know file operations. That means how to read a file and how to read the data from the file. How to, if you want to add a new data, how to write the data into the file. We have different file formats. Suppose one simple, I think everyone know the file CSV, comma separated value. This is one file format. This is the format regularly used. How to read this file into your Python programming. How to write the data. That means simply the operations that are performed in the files. Once you know this one, then only we will perform some applications, that is some projects. Now, regular expression. This is the module. That is the module is RE. Simply this module is mainly used for matching. One of the most important module of Python programming, RE module, for matching purpose. So this regular module. Now you know how to read the data, how to perform the operation from this 12. Now the thing is working with database. Working with database in the sense how your Python programming is connected to the database. Python programming is connected to the database. So for example, one database is MySQL. Remember all the installation of the databases and all the operations in the sense how to insert a data, how to delete the data, how to update the data, whatever it is, the basic operations is almost all same in all the databases. Only differences is among the syntaxes. Differences among the syntaxes. Suppose, for example, I will explain how to install MySQL and how to perform all the operations. So, let's explain the connection of the databases, and then iterators, generators, and decorators. This is the thing that is mainly depends on annotations. For example, one simple example, what do you mean by decorator? So once you, for example, I am creating a function. I am creating a function. Whenever we are calling the function do the same task. Suppose if I am calling the function 5 times, all the 5 times the function do the same task. Decorator is we have to add some additional functionality to the function. Additional functionality without changing the function. That is the logic of the function without modifying the function, but we can add some additional features by using the concept of decorator, that is called annotations. That means I am creating a decorator, and for the function, if you are applying the decorator, whatever the additional functionality in the decorator, all these additional functionality is applied to the function like this. So this it plays the most important role. These iterators, generators, and decorators plays a very important role. Now, for writing any project, any program, one of the important topic you require is exception handling. So simple thing, a handling of errors. Suppose if an error occur, what to do? We have to handle the error. Suppose if you are not in a position to handle the error, how do you solve the problem? So we are not moving to further. That is the reason whenever an exception occurs, we have to handle the exception and how to raise an exception, how to, these are the acceptance of the custom exceptions like this. Now, so up to now, these are the things that are related to the basics and some of the advanced Python programming. Now we are moving into more advanced. That is, if you want to execute any machine learning project, not only machine learning, any machine learning, artificial intelligence, data science projects, we have to know four things. Once you know the four things, then it is very easy to write the project. So what are the four things? One is the module Numpy. Mainly, Numpy is the module that is numerical Python. This module contains all the things related to calculations. That is the mathematic calculations. In the simple terms, Numpy is an n-dimensional array. Numpy is an n-dimensional array. Once you know these mathematical calculations, next we are moving into Pandas. This is the data manipulation, simply called data frames. That means we are storing the data, performing the operation in a frames. So how do you perform this manipulation? Manipulation in the sense that is operations. These manipulations of the data is provided by the pandas. So we will discuss these pandas. Actually, these two are the advanced versions of Python. In the basic Python, not available. So scikit-learn library, scikit-learn library. So this is the library which contains some of the models that are available to the Python programming. And after that, scikit-learning, we will discuss this one, Matplotlib. So this is the library mainly used for visualization. Suppose even though you are performing the operation, what is the main thing? Graphs. So graphical representation of the data, that is the graphical representation of the operation, we are going to use this Matplotlib. Going to use this Matplotlib. After completion of these modules, mainly NumPy, Pandas, Scikit-learn, Matplotlib, these modules we are going this one. So machine learning applications, generally the machine learning is classified into three types: supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and semi-supervised learning. Actually, right now we are using supervised and unsupervised. Under supervised, we have two things: classification and regression. Now we will discuss the classification and regression. These two are not coming under Python. Remember the thing, these two are not coming under Python. Actually, these two are related to machine learning, but after completion of all these Python programming, we have to know the applications where we are using the Python. Without knowing the application, it is not use. You got it? So if you know NumPy, Pandas, Matplotlib, Scikit-learn, after knowing all the concepts, what is the use where we have to apply? That is the reason we are newly introduced these two topics. That is the applications. Whatever we have to learn, we are applying. For example, we will move to the machine learning. Under machine learning, we have one is classification. So classification in the sense we have to classify the data. For example, once you got a mail, automatically the mails are moved into primary. Some mails moved into primary. Some mails moved into trash. Suppose some mails moved into promotions like that. How the mails are moved? That is called classification. These are the different algorithms. So naive Bayes, decision, support vector, KNN, logic restriction, and SML model. Some example program. Some example. So these are the algorithm, that is explanation of the algorithms and one project. Similarly, what is the regression? What are the different methods of the regressions? And one case study. These are the two or applications. These are the things we are going to discuss. So a normal basics of Python programming along with advanced Python programming. So advanced Python programming in the sense NumPy, scikit-learn, Matplotlib, and Pandas, along with some applications of machine learning projects also. So these are the things we have to cover in this complete Python programming session. Now, right now it is time for you. If you have any doubts and you are willing to ask anything, please ask me. Anyone? Anyone have any doubt?
Hey, hi sir, I'm
Uh,
Vinila.
yes, ma'am. Come in.
Yeah, I just have a quick question. Like I would like to learn machine learning as well. So is there any course like that covers both Python and complete machine learning, including unsupervised machine learning techniques as well?
Actually, that is not related to Python. Simple.
Okay.
Suppose if you want to learn the unsupervised learning, all the things that is in that situation, we have to go the complete machine learning concept. That is, this is the thing related to Python plus advanced Python. This course is
Okay.
mainly suitable for Python plus advanced Python.
Okay.
Actually, here I am adding these two things, the column number 20 and 21. That
Mm-hmm.
is, after learning the Python, we have to apply. So for you know the application only, we are introducing the machine learning.
Okay. Okay.
Yes,
Got you.
yes,
Thank you. Thank you so
yes.
much.
Thank you, madam. Yes. Any other else?